Hello everyone and welcome to one of the most stylish mid-size luxury SUV, the Jaguar F-Pace. So in today's video, we're going to be finding out everything in detail about this F-Pace. Before we move forward, please consider subscribing to my channel by clicking that subscription button and make sure to press that bell icon and leave all the notifications on, so that ways you will never miss any video updates from my channel. So the particular model that I am reviewing is the Jaguar F-Pace R Dynamic SE, and in the R Dynamic package you basically get all the elements on the car which is blacked out that you see is all a part of the R Dynamic package. And not just that, there are much more sporty bits that are included on the body design itself, and also the interior has a lot more changes in terms of the quality of the material, the fit and the finish. A lot of things are different in the R Dynamic package, but let's start from the front. So you get this big black glossy grille out here with this honestly quite good looking Jaguar logo out here with the R Dynamic badging on the side. Even at the bottom there is a grill, a meshed grill at the bottom, and some more glossy plastic bits. But yeah, it's just a very good mixture of black and silver paint job on this F-Pace. Now there are also these side pods. This is just the normal plastic. I wish this was also glossy, but I don't know, let me know in the comment section. And there are also vents out here. These are the fully functional vents which you get, not like the fake ones which you would find in some other cars. So yeah, air goes out and then channels from behind. When you come to these headlights, these are sleeker headlights which are given on the F-Pace. The shape is actually quite inspired from the F-Type, which is quite evident on this one. Even the lines that you see on the bonnet, thick lines, subtle lines everywhere. And these headlights also have the Jaguar logo inside. There are lots of tiny Jaguar details that they have given on this F-Pace. I'm going to be showing you everywhere wherever we come across. So yeah, these headlights are LED headlights. They also have the DRLs, and these DRLs also convert into turn signals, which are the dynamic turn signals, while the headlights are also dynamic, so they have the cornering lights and everything. So pretty smart headlight system that they have given on the F-Pace. And at the bottom you would find the fog lights, which are the LED fog lights. Now on the sides you get 20-inch glossy black alloy rims with this red brake caliper, and even out here you get the Jaguar logo, red one, looks so fit for this car. And even out here you get the caps for your valve. They also have the Jaguar logo in there. Even out here you would find this black color trim, glossy black plastic, and it has the Jaguar logo on it. The side mirrors are again blacked out side mirrors, and they have the blind spot warning inside them. They are also power foldable, they are also power adjustable. There is also a Jaguar logo that illuminates the floor, so there is a projection light out there. And there are also more plastic black surround around these windows, while these doors are smart keyless entry doors, and not just the front two but all four. And look at the body style itself. There are subtle lines, not sharp lines, but very subtle lines that go in here, and this very roundish rear door design. And even the back, it's protruding outside when you see it from the side profile, but it's not very sharp, it's not in your eye, but it's very elegantly rounded off. Even out here in the back you get a spoiler, silver one with the blank bottom side plastic glossy one, and these tail lights that extend onto the side profile. And if you see the body profile itself, it's a very curving shape in the rear. At the bottom you get the black color glossy trim out here. Even on the inside, on the door sills, you will find the Jaguar badging. Now out here in the back you get nicely flushed tail lights, so they continue from the side profile and go into the back, and they are a completely LED tail light cluster as well. And not just that, you get the dynamic turn signals out here in the back as well. The Jaguar badging in the black, the F-Pace badging in the black, it's all a part of the R Dynamic package. Then there is also the black glossy plastic trim at the bottom that you see around with this silver one, and some more reflector strips at the bottom. Now the thing is, there is no exhaust tips that are visible out here, and I'm actually glad, because instead of putting some fake exhaust tips, it's better to put nothing and then just get a very smooth flowing design in the back. So the actual exhaust tip is right behind at the back side of the bumper, but it doesn't matter. Now in terms of the visibility, it's actually a little restricted because there are these thick pillars on both the sides, and because the glass is quite tiny, the rear glass, which is what makes the visibility a little hampered. When it comes to the boot space, you get 613 liters of luggage space in the back when the rear seats are up. Now this space is the boot space is actually quite bigger than the Porsche Macan and also the BMW X4. It's also nearly in the X5 territory, which is how much of luggage that you get out here. There are also tying points in the back, 12-volt power socket, some more tying points at the bottom for your luggage, and at the bottom of the boot floor you will find a temporary spare wheel along with the toolkit, so there is space for that as well. There are also these steel scuff plates, but the thing is you may end up scratching it, so be careful with these steel scuff plates as well, but nonetheless they protect the bumper too. Now these rear seats are foldable in a ratio of 40:20:40, but in order to fold them down you have to go in the front and fold them. So let me just do that. I'm just going to fold one of the seats for now and show you. So when I do that, and also this boot separator can also be removed, so it's again quite an easy task. You just unplug these clips, slide the boot separator out and put it on the floor, and there is space for the boot separators to sit on the floor, so it eats a little bit of boot space, but it still fits quite perfectly in the on the floor itself. So when you fold down the rear seats, you can put 1440 liters of luggage, and not just that, the opening is pretty big and it's pretty wide, so it's quite an even storage space that you get when you put the rear seats down, or even when the rear seats are up. The whole luggage itself compartment is very well sorted and quite even. So the Jaguars have always been about luxury and premium interior experience, and on this you're not going to be missing out for sure, because boy oh boy, what premium materials that they have used, especially for a premium mid-size SUV. So you get this leather covered dashboard out here, soft touch with red stitching out here. There is red colored leather on the side dashboard. This is like a real aluminum plate out here, like when you knock it you can really hear it. There's also this chrome strip around the air conditioning grills. Even on the door cards you get soft touch leather covered material with the red stitching, this metal plate on the Meridian speakers. Then there is also this same design which was there on the dashboard, it's on the door cards as well. Some more red color leather which has been given on the handrest, and at the bottom it's only where you will find the normal plastic, but out here again you get the wine red leather covered side support out here. Out there at the bottom it's again normal plastic with this chrome surround around it, but it's just at the bottom that there is normal plastic, but it's still a good quality plastic that has been given. There are also mood lights which are given inside out here, even in the center console and on the driver's door, the passenger door, and even for the rear doors. Those lights can be changed from here, from the infotainment system, and then they are actually divided into three categories actually. The top ones, the ones on the sides in the door cards, and the ones in the footwells. So the footwells lights are only one color, but the brightness can be adjusted, but the other lights you can change the color of it. And not just that, in the previous Jaguars the door switches were mounted on the door card itself, but now they moved on to where the handrest is, and it is much more convenient. And not just that, the previous one, the F Pace, used to have that dial thing which would pop up for your gear selector. Now they've ditched that, and now you get this proper stick out here which has suede material covering and that metal chunkiness to it, like such a nice feeling, and it's such a handy one. Like it fits your hand when you're driving it around. So yeah, very clean interface that they have created out here on this 2022 F Pace. When you come to the driver's display, you get a huge screen on your dashboard which shows you multiple informations and multiple layouts also. So the standard view is like two dials on both the sides, and in the center you find the information. That information you can change from the dials and the buttons which are given on your steering. So when you press that, you are led into the display option, in which you can see your info panel, and in the info panel you can see what information you want to see from the center display, the information which is seen, like your driver assistance, map, trip, media, and you can switch it off if you don't want to. Then you can set the layout also. So I'm going to come to that layout too, but first let me show you the different options available. So then you go out and then you see the trip information, then there is the media, then there is the vehicle information, your tire information, and then you come back to the display. Now in terms of the display, there are various options in terms of the layout. So when you go into the layouts, you have the two dial setup, you have one dial setup, you also have the full map setup, you have the media, and you can just see the media that way, and then the driver assistant. So lots of things that you can do. Now one of my favorite is also the media setup. So you get a full screen media option, and also there is one more one dial setup. So when you go to the one dial setup, you can customize both the dials individually on both the sides. So you can customize the left panel and you can customize the right panel. So lots of options to customize the screen and the information that you see out here. So pretty good that way in terms of, it's just that it's slightly laggy, but I mean it's all right, because it doesn't matter, you are sitting in a comfortable place, so you might as well slow down too. Now when it comes to the steering wheel, this is a leather covered perforated steering wheel, which is pretty nice and big, and it's a round one. It's also got the R Dynamic badging at the bottom and a big Jaguar logo to remind you it's a Jag. And on the right side you would find the controls for your cruise control, which is the standard cruise control system, your lane keep assist, and also the speed limiter which you get. And on the left side you would find the buttons for your infotainment, and also the buttons to control the screen out here, your driver's display. There are also paddle shifters given in the back, which are like metal ones, so you can hear them, the sound of metal, it's so satisfying. So you get plus and minus on both the sides. They are decently long enough, so while driving you can easily shift and get a grip of that. Now the steering wheel is adjustable electronically, which is your tilt and telescopic, again decent speed. Now the only concern is that the buttons on the steering wheel are touch capacitive buttons, so whenever you press them, like, yeah, you feel a little lost in terms of the feedback, and they are a little fiddly also, because you don't know if you pressed it, if you haven't. So yeah, that takes a little while. But in the center there are dials and toggle switches, so yeah, you get those also, combination of that. But just, yeah, those touch buttons are a little to understand when you are going to be driving. There are also more touch buttons which have been introduced on the air conditioning controls, but the air conditioning controls are straightforward button operated air conditioning system. So you get all the buttons in the center for your aircon related. So you get the fresh air button, you get the AC button, your flow of air, and all of that. And on both the sides there are dials. Now these dials perform dual function. So standard, when it's on, you can change the temperature on both the sides, and when you pull these dials, so the pull is also written on the screen itself, and you can change the fan speed also. Now this is a very brilliant way to use these dials in both the ways, so you don't have to put additional dials or buttons for the fan speed. So, and it's got this big display also, so you can easily see the temperature at night. Ergonomically, I really like this setup also. Now in terms of the air conditioning system, you get 4-zone air conditioning system on the F-Pace. So the front driver and the passenger, and even the rear passengers can adjust the temperature and the fan speed. And not just that, the back passengers can even adjust the fan speed in the front. I'm going to come to that as well. So there are options which you press, and then you can control the fan speed in the front. So yeah, they can be annoying also to the driver and the passenger if they want to. Now when you come to this infotainment screen, this is an 11.4-inch Pivi Pro infotainment system. This is one of the best bits on the F-Pace. I really genuinely like this infotainment system. Now the thing is, it's very simplified. You get tiles on your main screen. You can even change that setup at the bottom to If you don't want to see the tiles, you can change it to, let's say, the home layout into more options, but I prefer the layout as tiles because it's much more easier. The graphics are really crisp and nice, and you can also slide and add. You can even customize this, so you can go in and then you can add more options, or you can remove options if there is too much on it. And the standard options that you find are your navigation, then your driving style. There are lots of driving style options, and also not just that, even in the driving style option inside you will get a lot of tips about your energy impact, your eco tips, your history of your fuel economy, all of that you can see from here. There are also more options on the side for same, again, the phone, navigation and the music system. There is also a shortcut button for your camera system, so you can press that, and if you want to see the 360-degree camera view at any point of time, you can just see that too. So very thought out, well laid out menu option that you get out here. It's quite easy to operate. There is no detailed menu options, and if you want to go into more detailed menu options, there is a menu button on the left side. When you press that, you can go into the accounts, and this is where you will find the climate button. So when you go inside the climate button, you can change the different settings out here as well. Then there is the camera button, so same 360-degree camera system that you can call in. Then the valet mode, so you can lock some of the features of this car when you give this car for your valet service. Then there is the eco data, then the all surface information. So this car basically provides you with all the surface info, where it is currently driving and what is the surface. A lot of these technologies are borrowed from the Land Rover's department also, so which is why you would see all this info being shown out here as well. Then when you go back, you get low traction launch. So if there is a traction issue somewhere, especially in a snow where the surface is slippery, then you can switch on this low traction mode, and especially it's made for the snow mode, so you can get that traction at lower speeds. Then there is the voice command, your navigation system. When I go into the navigation system, I like, for the first time, like the maps which have been given on this one. Like, I'll be honest, this infotainment system is a little slow that way. It's still a little laggy, needs a little bit of improvement in terms of the bug removal, but whatever has been given is fantastic. The screen is never in your face, it's below the eye level, and it's just there, right? You don't have to lean forward for it, you don't have to do any of that. It's just right at your fingertips, and this whole screen map looks absolutely wonderful on this screen. I know I keep telling it, but you have to see this in person, you know, all these options, like how well they are and how good this screen is. The last bit of options are your phone and the media. Now, in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment system using the Bluetooth, USB, and for some reason there is only wired Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. In other markets outside, you do get wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but for now on this you get the wired version of the Android Auto and the Apple CarPlay. So that is pretty much it in terms of the infotainment system's main menu options. There are also detailed settings options. That straight setting option is given at the bottom, and then you go there, you get quick menu options, then you get your home screen options. You can change the tiles on your home screen. Then the audio options. Now, in terms of the audio, you get 11 speaker Meridian sound system, and if you are someone who likes sound a lot while you're driving, then make sure to upgrade to the 11 speaker Meridian sound system, which is a part of the R Dynamic package, and it sounds incredible. It's just unbeatable because the quality from that is really good. You get good bass, good treble, all of it, clear sound. Your next menu option is the all settings, in which you will find your profile settings, your connectivity, your Wi-Fi, mobile data, and all of it. There's also the detailed vehicle settings, in which you will find all your detail options, which is your cabin lights, your convenience, safety, exterior lights. Then there is the general option, in which you can change your display, your time and date, your valet, pin code, the languages and the keyboards. After that, the applications, then the notifications and the software updates. Now, this car also has a nano SIM which is plugged into the car, so this car can receive over the air updates, as and when there is an improvement in the infotainment screen or the software itself or the car, it keeps updating itself. So you really don't have to worry about anything. The car will just do everything for you. Now when you come to the storage, you can put about a liter to a liter and a half worth of bottle in the door cards and some more storage on the sides. There's also one more pad which is given out here, which is also a charging pad. I'm going to come to that, but you can store your wallets and phones out here. Then there is two cup holders which are flexible cup holders, another slot to put your phone out here, then one more pocket kind of storage which is given to put your wallet, which is very convenient. And this is also like a slidable storage, so you can leave your stuff inside and then cover it. That is also pretty neat. And this glove box which has been given, which is lined with this black color velvet material. Everywhere there are like quality touches, like there is no place where the quality has been missed. There is also more storage at the bottom out here on both the sides. There are like slots also given, so you can put your phones and you can store some more things at the bottom. Then there is this center armrest which is also quite decent. You can put like just your wallet, but it's still lined with the velvet material out here, black color. And not just that, this handrest is also slidable with this soft touch material, which is maroon red colored leather with the red stitching. And for the rear passengers, they can put like 1 liter worth of bottle in both the door cards, and there are two cup holders which are given in the center armrest. Now when you come to the charging, you get one wireless charger out here underneath the air conditioning controls. It's nice and big and accommodates wide variety of phones. There is also one 12-volt power socket given next to the cup holders, and there are two more USB ports, one Type-C and one normal USB port. There is also one nano SIM slot which has been given out here. This is where you plug in your SIM. And there is also one 12-volt power socket which is given out here inside the handrest. And there is one more 12-volt power socket which is given for the rear passenger. On this F-Pace, you get a panoramic sunroof, but there's no roof that opens up, but it's just the panoramic glass that you get. But it still makes things quite airy inside the cabin, and it just consumes a little bit of headspace. Now on this F-Pace, you also get different sort of dials and buttons which are given out here. So one of the dials is for the volume out here, so yeah, you can control that. There's this thick metal plate that surrounds all these buttons and the gear knob. It looks really plush and posh. And there is also this start stop button which has been given. There is also this dial which is given for the mode, which says, so when you press that, it rises up. So there you still get some of the dials which go in and out and do some work. And in terms of the driving modes, you get 4 different driving modes, which is your sport, your comfort, your eco, and the snow mode. I don't know when you will use the ice or the snow mode, but yeah, you do have the rain mode which is clubbed into that. So probably you can use rain mode when it rains a lot in here, which is 1 or 2 days. So yeah, you can do that. So when you are done selecting the different drive modes, you can put this dial back into the position so that it flushes with the whole layout. And there are more buttons given at the bottom for your traction control and also the hill descent control. Now when you come to these seats, these are red stitched leather seats with the perforated design in them, and these seats are super comfortable. They also have the Jaguar logo in here, which is like the embossed version on the headrest, and the seat itself are quite broad enough. They have decent amount of side support at the bottom and even on the sides, and there are lots of extension options also possible, so you can extend the support underneath the thigh, and this extension is really good. It's like sitting on your relaxing chair in the house and sort of relaxing. You get the gist, how comfortable these seats are. Now the driver side seat is 16-way electronically adjustable, including your lumbar control and also this padded support, which you can reduce the thickness of it so that it grips you a little more, or you can if you want it to be loose, all of that can be changed from here. And even the thigh support, that can be changed. And while even the passenger side seat is 16-way electronically adjustable. So the posh and the premium feeling continues even for the rear passenger. So on the door cards you get leather covered material with the red stitching out here, the aluminum plates out here, and the Meridian cover for the speakers. The red leather on the hand rest where you're going to be resting your hands. Just at the bottom it's normal plastic, and in terms of the storage, as I mentioned, you can put like a liter to a liter and a half worth of bottle out here. But when it comes to these seats, these are like really good angled seats, so when you're sitting you're like leaning a little bit in the back and not like sitting upright, so you get that comfortable positions during the longer journeys. Even when you look at my legs, they are at a decent place. There's like the floor itself is pretty deep enough to give you that space so that you can rest your legs underneath, and not just that, you can even slide your legs underneath the seat so you can stretch them for when there is a longer journey and you want to be a little more relaxed, so you can do that as well. Now these rear seats come in the same red leather seats with the red stitching. They are perforated. The perforated is only the design purposes. There is no heater or the cooling effect given to these seats, or was for the front seats also. And the material that they have used is the Windsor leather, that is what you call. So yeah, really soft material, and there is a bit of a tunnel out here because this is an all-wheel drive car, so there's slight bit of tunnel out here. But when I sit in the middle, yeah, there's a bit of a bump here, like at the bottom, and even on the backrest there's a slight bit of hump. But because there is this panoramic sunroof, so when you open it you get that extra bit of headroom also. So yeah, someone for shorter journeys, someone can sit in the middle, but not during the longer journeys. But in the conventional, both the seats that you find on the rear seats, there is ample of headroom, although someone above 6 feet may start brushing their heads against the ceiling. It's just that this panoramic sunroof consumes a little bit of that head space, but the leg room is pretty decent, as you can see. And there's also this cutout in the seats which has been given to give you that extra bit of leg room also, and it really helps. Now there are also pocket storages which are given in both the seats, and there is also a hand rest which is given, which has 2 flexible cup holders, and you can use it, and if there's a passenger, then you can not use it. And these rear seats, as I mentioned, you can fold them down in a ratio of 40:20:40, so you can either ways fold it down if you have longer objects, and you can load them up into this area. And if not just that, you can even access the boot from here, so it's a pretty convenient feature that way. Now you get 2 air conditioning dials on both the sides for the rear passenger, and 2 vents out here in the center, and 2 more vents on the side. There's also one 12-volt power socket, but I wish there was one more or a couple of USB ports which were given for the rear passenger. So the 2022 Jaguar F Pace R Dynamic SE is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine that produces 247 brake horsepower and 365 Newton meters of torque. And this engine is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, while you get an all-wheel drive system on this F Pace. So when I come to the engine gearbox, I never thought that a 2-liter engine would be enough for a car this big, especially like this is like a premium mid-size sedan. But this engine doesn't really feel lackluster in any ways. Sometimes it just does, like in a very tiny way. When you are accelerating, that's the only time you would feel that you need that power requirement, but most of the times it delivers the power supply very well. The band is very good. The turbocharging effect, you don't get that sudden burst of torque all of a sudden, but it's very gradual and it's quite spread out that way. So the whole power and the torque, that is really nice, that comes from this engine. The output from that is, and clubbed with to this gearbox, it's a seamlessly gentle gear changes that you get on this one. Like, you absolutely do not notice, or the car is never confused. Also, there's one more thing, that when the car is going sometimes on an uphill, or when you're coming out of the parking lot, which is a little steeper one, at that time it just struggles to find the right gear and the power. That's the only time I felt like it needed a little bit of improvement in that. But otherwise, on a day-to-day run, this is just a very smooth power unit. Absolutely like it. And if you want something more powerful, there is a V8 SVR version, like, which is much more sportier and stuff. Then you can buy that one. But for everyday use, this is just perfect. And not just that, when I put this in the sport mode, so let me put that, and when I drive it in the paddle shifters, that's when it really starts to come alive. Let me put it in the sport setting. Yeah, and I get that the exhaust is slightly muted. It's not really matching with the tone of the car, but it's all right. It still does cover up by giving you the speed. Like, so right now also, like, yeah, it pulls, and you don't notice how quickly you are moving in a car this big, because it does that in a very quiet manner, in a very gentle way. It's never going to surprise you with too much of power. Now, the thing is, there's also an all-wheel drive system on this one, but it's more predominantly a rear-wheel drive car, and only when there is a power demand for, let's say, there's a need of traction somewhere, that's the only time when it will power the front wheels. Also, it can, bear in mind, also function as a completely front wheel drive if there is ever a need for the power supply. But boy, yeah, this is a very everyday kind of car which has been targeted, and for that it does its job very well. Now, in terms of the fuel efficiency, it will return anywhere between 9 to 9.5 kilometers per liter, which is again a very good figure for a mid-size SUV, especially a premium SUV. And on a longer runs, yes, you will get 11 kilometers per liter, which is quite good. And on a full tank, you get a range of 550 kilometers per liter. Again, it's all up to your driving, how you drive. Like, if you put, like me, always in a sport mode, and you keep doing this, then yeah, it's gonna consume a little more petrol. But nonetheless, this 2-liter engine that weighs is a, hear that grunt, from a 2-liter. When it comes to the suspensions, they are on the softer side. They give you a very gentle ride, and the chassis is so well balanced. Like, it's very balanced. It just irons out all the bumps for you, and you never feel any of it. And the chassis always remains so balanced. Plus, to top it off with these suspensions, boy, it's really a good setup that you will get. So let me do a slalom and show you the amount of body roll, because it's also pretty negligible that way. Again, I am comparing it because it's such a huge car. Sorry about the noise, because my bag is also sort of dancing around. But yeah, and you can always feel the computers are always trying to correct the car. I actually did at a fairly higher speed, the slalom, and then it immediately got the car back into the control by reducing the power and getting the body roll in control. So yeah, very good in terms of that. Now, when it comes to the steering, this is again a good steering setup with good feedback. It's electronic, but it's got a very good feedback. It's got the progressive approach, and not just that, it's got a very good turning radius also, because usually for an SUV this big, you would expect the turning radius to be quite big, but on this one I've been able to manage to do the 3-point turns quite easily. I've never had any sweat about doing that. But yeah, coming to the steering, it's got nice bit of feedback. It's also got a good direction to it. It always feels very alive, especially if you put it in the sport mode. Yes, the steering setup feels very decent. Now, when it comes to the brakes, you get 4-disc brakes on this F Pace R Dynamic, and not just that, you get the red calipers, although they are just the calipers which are painted red, but nonetheless they do look attractive. But those calipers are an optional extra, the red color ones, if you want it in red. But any which ways, let me show you the performance from them by doing a 100 to 0 emergency brake stop. Yeah, the ABS starts kicking in, and even the emergency stop signal switches on, and the brake pedal setup itself is very progressive. It's not a very sensitive one, it's very gradual. Now when it comes to the noise and the vibrations, there is very minimum or absolutely nothing in terms of the noise vibration, because vibrations are kept in check with this good build quality. And the noise, there is active noise cancellation system also that you get on this one, so it keeps the cabin very decently quiet. And at on a very windy day, you would notice slight bit of whooshing from around here. That's about it, these windows. But yeah, honestly, I did not find any other noise, although this 2-liter engine at a very high speeds can feel a little noisy sometimes, just a tad bit. Now when it comes to the safety systems, you get 8 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags for the driver and the passenger, and there are 6 curtain airbags on all the pillars, so you actually get 10 airbags. Then there is also the ABS, there is also the emergency stop signal, there is tire pressure monitoring system, there is child isofix points in both the rear seats, there is also the lane keep assist, there is lane departure warning, there is also the blind spot warning system, there is also a 360-degree camera system. Now I like the fact that the combination of the camera and this amazing quality of the screen makes the experience of using the 360-degree camera very joyful. And not just that, the 3D camera, when you take the 3D view, that's also pretty flawless, so you can easily customize to see your car in 3D and get a gist of where the car is headed, in which direction, how much to take. But yeah, it's very smooth. Only thing is, if the screen can be a little faster, the graphics overall, then yeah, that also can be improved. But again, you get the over-the-air updates, so I'm pretty sure they can improve that too. But on the whole, that 360 is a very good setup. Now when it comes to the pricing, the standard Jaguar F Pace R Dynamic SE costs 257,250 dirhams, and if you spec it up like this one, which has the optional black pack, and it's also got the Meridian sound system, the leather interiors and all of those bits, then the total price comes to 277,956 dirhams. I'll be putting the exact price. But yeah, to be honest, this car, for that, I think I like, because I know for a fact that there are multiple options in this, and especially the Germans, they have a lot of their products lined up in this range. But this car, it just does things in its own way, and especially with this whole new setup that they've come up with, it just makes a very good argument for itself. I like how it, you can just every day use this car without thinking about how much it is going to cost you when you're going to be driving it every day. So fuel efficient, it's also spacious, it's rich, it's posh, and to be honest, I like the fact that this car combines the practicality and also the premiumness. This is a very good car if you're looking for a mid-size SUV. Anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. And thank you for watching this video. I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye, take care and stay safe.